Hello, welcome to Bars and Bells 2024.
Here we are.
My name's Lauren.
And I'm Ian.
And this is our Strength and Swings class. So we're back starting to semester 1, 2024. If you missed 2023, join us now or get back in the archive for all those videos. But you can do those in between. Today we have a heavy bell where we'll get warmed up underneath some weight, holding it in our various positions. If you don't know those positions, you're in the right place because you're going to learn them here today. We'll also be exploring our get up today in some breakdown versions. So grab a bell. It doesn't have to be heavy. Let's get a grip. But first,
start with that body weight. Warm up. We'll do some ankle movements here and quickly get to the floor. Lauren has told me to keep it short. And today's body weight warm up and the kettlebell does add a nice little warm up vibe to the season here. So start with the balls of the feet, pulling the knees to the midline, and then find a quick balance onto 2 points, down on a straight leg, switching. And then do the same thing here, push the hip through, find a quick rise, and come down. Right away then, let's just bend one of those knees. Well, actually both are bending, but one is contacted to the floor with the full foot, and then we'll press through, we'll find our balance, we'll come down with control, and do the same thing then on the other side. This time we'll just stay low and peel up that heel and give those quads some love, making sure the tension isn't on the knees, but instead those quads, and push those hips through to finish tall. And return the feet to the ground. This time we'll go all the way to the floor and we'll go as low as we can with the flat feet. Then the heels can come up to help us get a little lower into that toe squat. Then the knees can touch, the hips go through, and we'll find those hands on the floor next. We'll hinge on the hip, setting up those deadlift or swing habits right away. Fingers, calluses, full hands on the floor. For 2 quick reps, extend the neck, meaning looking forward. Hello, and then do a chin tuck, looking towards the hands on the ground. Repeating again, aiming to keep the fingertips heavy, the elbows straight, nations forward, and just gently check the extension and now the tuck of the chin. Return the head and the eyes looking between the hands. Now from here, we'll do our first knuckle push-up. The fingers and calluses stay heavy, the whole hand returns to the ground. Continue again, that wrist extension position is very helpful when we work on that get-ups position and then other practices like our handstands. And if we did that one more time, push away, push the hips through, and keep extending the hips with your butt squeeze and bring the rib cage down onto those hips. Maybe you can test that shield right away, clench the glutes, and brace the core. We'll quarter turn the hands this time, still hinging on the hips, meaning butt back. Fingers, calluses, hands. And this time we'll do an ear to shoulder habit. As we do this lateral flexion at the neck, consider moving the head only and the neck as little as possible. That's 1 and 1 to each side for me. So I'll do that one more time, the one way, and final time, the other. Returning to the middle. Now I'll push to my right and drift my weight to the left, and then push to the left and drift towards the other side or the right. Continue again, and can you feel that tension between you and the floor through the fingertips, the callus lines, as you push one way and go the other. And then push the hands away and extend those hips through. This time, place the hands out front, extended on the arms. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and press the hips forward, and then crunch forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, push the hips through, and consider again that crunch. 5 more seconds, Lauren's gonna come through that screen and gently punch you on those abs, making sure your shield is engaged, and then we'll just gently switch those hands back down to the floor. Make those gorilla fists this time, and first at the head and neck, I'll rotate to look at Lauren here, and then looking from my shoulder to the floor to the other side of the wall here, gently check out that rotation at the head neck. Repeat once more, and as you do this one more time the other way, are you on your peace sign digits, meaning that index and middle finger? Then if we are, let's flex over the wrist. That's that stretch or flexibility, and the strength is when you press down on the floor and return to the stacked position. Repeat on the other side. The fingers can open. We flex over the wrist. Lauren's doing a great job keeping that elbow straight, and then back into wrist extension. And one last time here, flexion is over, back up to stack, and final time on the other side, over and stack. And there's just one more movement for me today, and that's going back to the original hand position, that wrist extension, and either from the knees on the floor or from the hover position, that's harder, let's draw our scapular or shoulder blade circles. So it's a together squeeze, followed by an elevate or a shrug, and then press into the floor and pull down to the hips, repeating one more time, the together retraction.
the up elevation, the protraction or forward push, and pull back down. Reset the knees to the floor, take a quick break, and one last time in the opposite direction. It's going to start with that retraction, and then depression or down, then push through, shrug up, retract, pull down to the hips, push through, elevate, retract, and I'll push the floor away and pass the torch, or the microphone at least, towards Lauren.
Ooh, let's quickly warm up those lunges, because that is what we're doing today by getting one leg forward into our kneeling lunge position. In our kneeling lunge position, as we work on this always, we will have those level hips, meaning if your pelvis was a bowl of punch, your punch is trying to stay flat in your bowl and not slosh all over. Yes. So with that nice level punch, we'll pull the legs together. When you do that, squeeze your back cheek, and you should feel a lot of work through the front of that hip, and relax that top hip flexor as you pull this femur in. Now gently drift forward, knee towards over toe. Think about leading with the hip versus leading with that big upper body. Then push forward to go back, keep squeezing that cheek. Now we're going to change our forces. Instead of pulling together, we're going to push forward and back, creating so much tension on the floor that you may find yourself hovering. And then a little higher, and then a little higher. And a 5-second descent. This is where we start our pull back together. Front leg pulls in, soft as we land slowly on the floor. Give that a little rest. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Other leg comes forward, vertical shin, soft hip flexor, allowing that femur to come in, bowl of punch, level-ish, back hip squeezed, back toe tucked. Again, feel the pull to center. Our cage is stacked over top of those hips, and we're pulling so much that we drift knee towards over toe. Working on that front ankle mobility as well as that hip extension out the back, and then push forward to send yourself up to tall. Now again, change those forces, pushing forward and back to get to that hover position. Keep squeezing, keep this heavy underneath, mid, and then high, and then pull the floor together, back hips extended, front legs pulling in, soft landing, back down. Let's zip those legs underneath, but we're going to do our first kettlebell hold from down here, so let's get right to it. With a kettlebell or without, we're going to start in that lying down first position of our get up. So we'll be lying on our back, holding our bell over top of our shoulder with a nice straight wrist. If you have a kettlebell, the first thing you do is you cuddle it.
Cuddle it.
So come into that cuddle position, which means a little fetal position facing your bell. The arm that's closest to the floor is going to grip your kettlebell, thumb wraps, second hand is going to cuddle. With two hands, you'll roll to your back, elbow will be close to the floor, and then two-handed press that bell. Once it's up here, let's do the whole checklist. Right now, we have the same leg bent as the arm that's holding the kettlebell. The other leg is heavy on the floor, toes and knees pointing to the ceiling. The arm that's holding the bell has a nice straight wrist. It's resting on the forearm, and the bell is never over top of our face. Our elbow is nice and straight, stacked over top of our shoulder, and our shoulder is lightly retracted behind us, as well as engaged in that lat. We'll hold for another 5, 3, 2, with two hands, pull the bell down, maintaining a vertical forearm, and then cuddle it over to the floor. Let it go, spin yourself around, and we'll do that same first move on the other side.
Right on. Aiming to hold this for about 30 seconds, about the duration of one solid get up here as well. And here it is that cuddle in the fetal position, and I like that two-handed press with control. Feel free to keep those two hands on for stability and maybe play a countdown game with those fingertips as we gain the confidence and security to keep the bell stable. Looking at it might help as well, and Lauren cued it really nicely where the elbow stays straight, the knuckles reach towards the ceiling, pushing out of that kettlebell handle, and the shoulder is packed. And breathe. Tighten up on those abs, dorsiflex the straight leg foot, meaning pull that foot to the shin, and we'll hold that for about another 5 seconds again here, making sure you could talk, but focus on the hold, and two hands on, and return to the floor. And that is a quick crash course in that firing range position with your kettlebell.
Great. We're going to be holding the bell next in some other positions, but to do that, we need some core tension. So let's pause in a plank position on our way up to standing. Our planks we like to do from our hands. If your wrists don't love that, feel free to do it from your elbows. With your hands or elbows underneath your shoulders, tuck your toes, lift your hips, and try to get your hips in line with your shoulders. Your cheeks are squeezed, those are your butt cheeks. Your shoulders are pulled out of your ears, engaging your lats. Without moving, you're trying to ripple the floor underneath you. Your quads and your legs have tension. Your hands gripping the floor have tension. Your arms are nice and straight, and you're breathing underneath that shield for 3, 2, let's step our feet a little wider. Lift your hips, but bend your knees. Come back into our hinge position, so vertical shins, and then press ourselves through to tall. Our next couple holds here today, we'll be holding the bell first in our lower, our suitcase carry. So to do that, take your kettlebell and put it between your feet. Standing over top, feet are about hinge width position, hinge width, also known as hip width, apart. Use your hinge, grip with one hand or two, but square those shoulders up, pack, brace abs, driving those hips through, step a little narrower and pull that bell beside you. That bell should be slightly off your body because your shoulder is elevated and lightly retracted. You still have that cage down. You're working hard. Your hips are facing forward. We said 30 seconds, but maybe 20 is good for now. So another squeeze your cheeks. 5, 4, 3, 2, bring it in front. Use your hinge to put the bell down. Stand up without. Whoa.
Time under tension
Christmas
here.
cheese catching up.
Ooh, do love that Christmas cheese. And here we are, repeating on the other side.
So we'll set up that hip hinge, and whether it's with one hand or two,
Lift it up, and as allowed, return it to the other side. As Lauren said there, we could step those feet a little bit narrower and making sure that the rib cage is lined up over top of that bowl of punch, those level hips as well. I can see Lauren shaking from here, which is a good sign. I can see her abs work. I can hear her breathe from behind that tension
3,
too, making sure that you feel strong and we can
choose to dismount just
like that. Nice.
All right, so that was our suitcase hold. Next and right away, we're going to get to that rack position. So let's just practice it here, body weight. We have a vertical forearm. Our wrist is nice and straight, and our pinkies are driving up towards the ceiling, avoiding that yucky wrist. Drive towards the ceiling. Elbows in tight, like there's $1 million bill in your armpit. Keep the shoulder retracted and wear the weight on here, and on here. So to get that bell there, we'll use our hinge. We'll grip a 1, a 2, we'll cuddle, punch through, and bring it to that rack position. You can hold down with 2 or you can let go with 1 hand. Again, check it out. Are all your knuckles pointed towards the ceiling? Wrist nice and straight. Don't let that bell pull your wrist back into extension. You're wearing that weight on your abs, on your cheeks, on your lat. You're breathing. For another 5, you're pretending one day you could press this. 4, 3, 2 hands. Use your hinge. Place the bell down. Wow.
That's my cue. And what we do on one side, we like to do on the other.
So I do turn the handle to be parallel with the feet in this moment. Preload, meaning pretend to lift.
And then fire it up with those hip extensions or the butt cheeks. The forearm is vertical, elbow in tight. It might be slightly wider based on that size of the chest here, but making sure that it's tight to the body and retracted through the shoulder blade. I can see Lauren again, gently quivering. No, I'm not. Yes, we are. It's okay. That's what we want. We want to
3,
be stressed under this load. And as from before,
control your dismount
and come up barehanded.
We have one more position to get ready here, and that's our goblet hold. So we'll use our hinge, we'll pull and re-grip down the side of those horns, holding the bell out front of us. Here we go. It's a hip hinge. Pull, zip, re-grip, hold. Bell is off of our chest a little bit, but we're trying to retract those shoulders and pull the bell apart. Our cheeks are still squeezed, our cage is forward, imagining we're in that standing plank position. We're breathing underneath the shield. Whoa. Bracing our abs for another 5. Could you look through the window? Bring it back down. Use your hinge. Bell goes down. Whew.
As
That was nice.
Yeah, it was nice. I agree.
I'm hot.
Feel fired up, and that's a good thing as long as you feel safe with it too. We'll continue with some versions of our get-ups and other kettlebell holds, including those lunge positions, I think. But if you are just happy enough going through that catalog of arm bars, rack position, and the goblet hold, and the low suitcase, go for it. Practice those skills first.
All right, but if you're with us and you'd like to join us through our first kettlebell get up move of 2024 together with you, we will get to the elbow, get to the back, get to the elbow, get to the back, get to the elbow, get to the back. Let's lie down to do that. You can also choose to do this body weight as you're learning this progression, or this might be your first get up of your life, which is great, and we're so excited for you because it will change your life, maybe. Cuddle, roll, press. So in that get up position, we have the same leg bent as the bell the arm that's holding the bell. Other leg is up, other arm is out to the side, parallel with that long leg. We use our foot to push into the floor to extend our hip, to drive and pull to our elbow. From here, we'll push away from our elbow and return to our back. Let's do that 2 more times. It's a hip drive and a pull. This is not a crunch. Push away from your elbow to your back. 1 more time. Hip drive, pull. Push away from your elbow to your back. Pull the bell down with 2 hands. Return it to the floor. And when I say it's not a crunch, at no point in time in that exercise did our spine curl to get ourselves up there.
Plank-like tension.
Plank.
Awesome. And again, when we do that one side, we like to do the other. So I'll be starting in that cuddle position here, driving through my right hip or the kettlebell loaded side. Cuddle, roll, press. Push through the hip to pull on the elbow and counterbalance as you return to the floor, stiff like a plank. Drive the hip, proudly tall on that elbow, and then control the descent. It's 3, which is this one right there. And we'll take our time as we get to the floor. 2 hands on the kettlebell, give it the cuddle. And now we love those strict ways of doing our get up, but now be creative and stand up. Perhaps the challenge is to do that without the hands. Get ups, we'll come back to those. And right now, Lauren, we are back to the
Lunges.
woo.
So part of the get up is a lunge component. That's where you go from the floor to standing. Let's break down those lunges today. First, starting with that bell in the goblet position. So if you want to add a load, that's where we'll be holding the bell. If you want to do this body weight, that's also welcome. Over top of your bell, use your hinge, pull, grip, legs come together. A single leg steps back, comes down to the floor, hop, together. Alternate sides, down to the floor, hop, together. Let's go. 4 more for 6 total. Try to put that knee on the floor because in a get up, you'll have to get out of that kneeling position. The bell is just off our body as we practiced with that heavy hold. Come to tall, hinge to place down.
Safely fired up from the grips to the shoulders, to the abs, to the feet, making sure you think about each move and making sure you feel safe to go forward or go back to those loaded carries, or in this case, progress with that body weight get up and always shake. Feels good too. It does. Back to the floor now.
Yes, we'll be adding on a move to our get up. Elbow, hand, elbow, back. Let's start, as usual, in the cuddle position. Come on down, roll towards your bell. With or without your bell, cuddle, roll, press. Assume your get up position, hand heavy on the floor. Hip drive to the elbow. Find your hand, hold. Go back to the elbow, return to your back. Repeat again. Elbow, hip drive. Hand squish bug, back to your elbow, return to your back. Let's do it 1 more time. That bottom shoulder is packed the whole time, meaning it's staying out of your ear. No shrugs. As you return to your back, pull the bell down and return it to the floor. Whew.
Who is right?
Take your time.
And again, taking your time between sets, and that body weight rep might be the one for you today. And that's all right with us. But we'll cuddle, we'll roll, and we'll press. We're driving off of the hip and then squishing that bug, elbows nice and straight in that tall sit. Then find the elbow and push away from it to return to the ground. Knuckles to the ceiling and we'll drive the hip. We'll sit nice and tall. The arm is perpendicular with the floor and to the back. It's one more time with the hip drive and then our tall sit. We'll hold, find the elbow, control down, 2 hands. Return it to the cuddle. And now is the challenge. No hands up, single leg pistols, double leg, ninjas, whatever it is. Have fun with that and be safe.
Next installment of those lunges, we will be performing our drop back lunges again, but from the rack position. So we'll pull that bell up into its rack hold. This time we're going to get tricky and we're going to still alternate legs. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, bell goes down, other arm 4. Over top of bell. Use your hinge, zip punch, hold. Leg steps back, up together. Other leg steps back, up together. One more time each side, keeping that cage right over top of those hips. And then once you're up here, bell goes down, up without.
Which side's harder?
When you take your loaded side leg back, I think.
I agree. That's what I think. What about you?
Which is opposite to get up,
It is.
but we're practicing it all. Same thing, second side. Over top, zip punch, and step back, up together. Step back, up together. Eyes stay up or forward. Drive through that front leg, cheek, bell goes down. Ooh. Up without.
Up without. There's one more phase of the get up that I believe we're exploring today, and that's getting towards that windmill position.
Have these.
Have get up. Once, twice. What's the number that's just
I think we
nice
should
for
do
you?
2.
2. Says Captain Lauren.
Because
So,
2 halves equal a whole of the duration of time in which we're under the kettlebell. It's
okay.
clearly
Whatever
just math.
makes sense up there, let's do it.
So we'll come down to the floor for one more round of half get-ups.
Sounds
Or
good.
one round, because we've never done it.
Sounds good.
And again, if you haven't done this, I would highly recommend doing it body weight first. But here we go. Cuddle, roll, hippity hop, press. So the moves we've been practicing, it's to the elbow, to the hand. Now we do a bridge and we sweep that long leg underneath of us. Hold, 3, 2, sweep back through. Find the elbow, return to your back. Do it all again. Elbow, hand, bridge and sweep. 3, 2, sweep back through. Find your elbow, return to your back. Bell pulls down, returns to the floor.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Awesome. So again, when we do that one side, we like to do to the other, and it's 2 repetitions of the half get up. So it's a cuddle, a roll and press, and now drive off that bent leg to the elbow, to the tall sit. Look at the bell as you bridge and sweep, and hold for a quick pause, and then with control back to the tall sit, the elbow to the ground. Make adjustments as you need, keep a nice firm grip, and do it again. That's a drive, followed by our tall sit, a bridge, sweep, quick hold, pause, and then we'll sit through, find the elbow, return to the ground, and then 2 hands down, and return it to the floor. Come up. Ooh, switch legs, Ian. That's the hard one. That's why I didn't want to do it. But find those simple challenges in your own workout with or without the bell.
All right, we have one more set of lunges here today. And we were going to try getting that bell towards the overhead position and doing some lunges there. If that sounds like crazy talk to you, that's no problem. What your options are, I always like to give options in my class. Option 1, take the bell overhead, do our lunges. That's option 1. Option 2, take the bell overhead and hold it there without doing lunges. Option 3, pull the bell to the rack position and do those lunges from there. Option 4,
Oh, so many options.
body weight arm overhead to do those lunges.
It's like a Toronto election ballot here. Holy cow.
Okay, well, you have to choose one of those. So whichever one you're going to choose, no matter what you're going to do this with or without a bell, let's hinge, pick it up or body weight up to the rack, get that bell towards overhead, and then the leg you can touch will drop back first, and then up together, and then we're gonna do the other leg. Step back lunge, up together, one more time each side if we could, step back lunge, up together, and last one, and up. Pull the belt down with control, 2 hands, and park. Wow. All right, you have to pick the same, good thing you don't have to remember all the options. So you have to do the same thing on the other side.
With Ian cueing and talking this time, so let's do it. So it's a hike pass or straight up cheek clean into that rack position. And whether you use a strict press, way to go, Lauren, or the cheat press there, that's okay. And we'll drop back, knee touch as allowed, full hip extend. The arm, again, is perpendicular with the floor, same with the upper body. As a question, are the ribs connected to the hips, and we're driving the hips through to tall. And one last time as Lauren punches that shield of hers and yours, and then pull to that rack and return to the floor and shake some tension away.
Wow. That is quite a workout for 2024, but guess what? We're not done.
Okay.
We are going to finish holding that kettlebell. It's going to be double at once. You're going to hold the bell in the rack position, and then you're going to take the same bell and bring it down into that low suitcase hold. We'll put the bell down and repeat on the other side.
Aye, aye, Captain.
So no puts downs while we have this bell up. We'll get ready. We'll prepare ourselves. We're going to do 20 seconds in each position. So count your Mississippis. Get ready in 3, 2, pull, zip to rack. Hold 20 seconds here. Ribs over hips, cheeks squeezed. So I often find I have to send my hips one way, my cage the other to stay underneath this kettlebell. We're breathing. We're driving those knuckles towards the ceiling for another 5, 3, 2, 2 hands. Keep it tight. Don't put it down. Bring it to that low suitcase hold. And for me, I find this one really challenging. Try to send your hips away from your bell. Keep your shoulder lightly elevated. 5, 4, 2. It'll help you with groceries. Put the bell down.
Very functional lifts today. All those functional carrying lifts that'll help the grip strength and all the other skills we'll assemble in this calendar year 2024. We'll do it again. It starts in that rack, and in that middle position, it gets that hang clean kind of position, but making sure that our hips are absorbing that tension on the down and not our back. So great cue, Lauren, using that hinge. Last time on the other side now, it's a preload. Do you feel how heavy that bell is first?
I do.
And then drive through. Elbow in nice and tight. And again, you might change your stance just a little bit. Holding for time, tending, we lean that way because it's heavy. So find that body shape where we're sharing that load and pushing the feet out from center. And we can always trust Lauren to look at that clock. We probably
3,
have 2, 1, and then return it to the hang clean and stand up tall. This one, I would always advocate that we do have a fairly narrow stance, allowing the plumb line of the arm to be hanging straight down rather than, say, on the body. We'll hold that for a couple seconds. This time, again, lean a millimeter, that 1/16 of an inch away from the kettlebell. Push the feet out.
Down.
Lauren's got the eye on the clock. Down. And then finishing barehanded with our
do you
fun
have this?
shakes.
Remember this game? Ooh,
Let the float
my
happen.
arms are floating
Ooh.
now.
That's right.
Oh, well, thanks for joining us on this half-hour strength and swings practice, where we just got week 1 of a 7-week semester here under our belt. And we'll get back, that was in our belt. We'll get back to more fun things next week. In the
Yes.
meantime, go for a walk, play with your kettlebell, hold it in those various positions throughout the day. Doesn't have to be a lot to make a difference, and add some strength into your daily routine.
And also come back. Week 1 of the bar practice starts on the other side of the room, where we'll do bar ballet inspired movements for hip mobility and integrating that kettlebell into some presses as well. And on Saturdays, bright and early, or at least early, we'll play with our strength and our body weight workout. Please join, please like, subscribe, and join us in this calendar year 2024 one class at a time, one semester at a time for the whole year.
Until next time, take care
Stay strong.
and let's train soon.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Awesome.